Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes, good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes, good. Okay, well let's learn English together. Hello everyone, yes, hello and welcome to the day before the day, which is our favourite day of the week. Yes, we've moved past the middle of the week and now we find ourselves here on Thursday, here on the day before the ultimate day of the week. Well, the standard working week that is, but you all knew that I was talking about the standard working week, didn't you? Of course you did. So, yes, here we are on the day before the ultimate day of the week. And that means that we're here on the penultimate day of the standard working week. Yes, we're here, it's Thursday, the penultimate day of the week, and that means that tomorrow will be the ultimate day of the week. And that's quite fitting, isn't it? Think about it for a moment. The adjective ultimate has got more than one meaning, hasn't it? Let's have a look at what the dictionary has to tell us about the word ultimate. Okay, so what can we see there? Yes, we can see that the adjective ultimate has got two meanings. One, as we can see, is the idea that it means the end of a process, and that's how we use it a lot of the time. Just now, for example, I spoke about the ultimate day of the week, and that's the meaning that I was using. Friday is the ultimate day of the standard working week. It's the last day of the standard working week. It's the final day of the standard working week. So, for that definition of the adjective, if we wanted a synonym, what would we think of? Well, the last, final, something like that. Okay, and what about the other main meaning that we use with the adjective ultimate? Well, yes, the other meaning we often use with ultimate is the idea that this is the most extreme, the best of its kind. So if I say that Friday is the ultimate day, then we've got two meanings in one. Yes, Friday is the ultimate day, the last day in the standard working week, but it's also the ultimate day. It's the best! And that's great. But, as we all know, we're going to have to settle down a wee bit because we're not there yet. No, we're here on Thursday, on the penultimate day of the week. And although Thursday's not as great as Friday, it's still pretty good, isn't it? Yes! Well, even if you don't like Thursdays as much as Fridays, well, we're not in control of the passage of time, are we? No. Well, you might be able to control time, but I can't. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we have to get through Thursday in order to get to Friday. There's no way around this. We have to follow the rules. Thursday follows Wednesday, Wednesday follows Tuesday, Tuesday follows Monday, Monday follows Sunday, Sunday follows Saturday, and Saturday follows Friday. And as we all know, Friday follows Thursday. And that means that we have to get through Thursday so that we can experience the joy, the pleasure, the delight of Friday. So, no complaining about the fact that it's only Thursday. Thursday is all right. Thursday is a good day. Not as good as Friday, as our old friend George told us. But then, no day is as good as Friday. Isn't that right, George?
Hello, I'm George Orwell. I'd just like to remind you that pigs may be smaller than horses, but geese are smaller than pigs. And although all days are equal, Friday is the best. But the days of the week are all equal. But Friday is still the best. And giraffes are taller than anteaters. That's all from me for now. Speak to you later. Bye.
Exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself, George. Thank you for your input. All right, people, we all know where we are, so it's time for us to get stuck in to some vocabulary. Let's have a gander at what we saw and heard in the conversation we had with Enid yesterday, shall we? All right, so what new words, which new phrases did we encounter yesterday? Well, for a start, Enid was talking about manners, wasn't she? She was talking about the fact that speaking with your mouth full isn't considered to be good manners. And when we think about manners, then what are we talking about? Yes, that's right. Manners are the forms of behavior that we learn from our families and society in general. Children are taught manners by their parents, at least initially. And then, as we grow up, we're also taught what society thinks is acceptable and unacceptable behaviour. Think about when you travel on public transport. What do you think? What goes through your mind when you see a young person remain seated when there's an elderly man or woman standing? Is that okay? Would you remain seated? What if there's a pregnant woman standing where you're sitting? Would you remain seated? Would you offer someone else your seat or not? What about if there's someone on the bus with a broken leg? Or what about someone who's handicapped? What about those situations? What about opening a door for someone else? Were you taught to give up your seat on the bus or tram or metro to someone who needs it more than you? Yes? Well, that behaviour is all to do with what we think of as good manners. And it's not only opening doors for other people. No. What about eating? What about dining? Do you speak with your mouth full, or were you taught that speaking with your mouth full is bad manners? Were you taught that it's impolite? So, we all know about manners, good manners and bad manners. We know that people like people with good manners. Think about what happens when you get into a lift, or think about what happens when you go into a sauna. Think about what happens when someone enters or leaves a lift or a sauna. In Hungary, that's important. In Hungary, when we enter and leave places, perhaps a shop, perhaps a sauna, maybe a lift, it's not normally very important where we are. But most people, most Hungarians will greet the other people in that place. And when they leave, they normally say goodbye. This is just an example of good manners. You were taught that it is courteous. Your parents and grandparents taught you that this is the way that you are expected to behave. And it's not something which occurs, which happens naturally, is it? No. We aren't born with a sense of what good manners are. We have to be taught them. We have to learn from our families and from society what we should do, how we should behave if we want to show that we are, well, to show that we are good people, to show that we were raised in a way that society thinks is good. Okay, we also have the idea of rebellion. Teenagers deliberately behave badly and exhibit bad manners. They're rebelling against the expectations of society. They're showing that they're different, that they are the new, young generation who don't open doors for people, who don't give up their seats to pregnant women. But we all know that this is only a phase. It's just a phase in a person's development. When these teenagers grow up a bit more, then they'll understand the importance of good manners. Well, hopefully they'll understand the importance of good manners. Of course, if you didn't teach your kids how to behave, if you were too busy working to explain to them, to tell them that it's polite to offer someone your seat, that we expect you to say please and thank you, that we expect you to show courtesy and behave in a courteous manner, then there will be problems. People who don't follow the rules of society. And yes, basically, that's what we're talking about, aren't we? The rules of society, the process of socialization, the process of learning to behave in a way which is acceptable. That's what good manners are all about. So, people who don't learn these rules, people who aren't socialized, they're not going to get on or get along in life, are they? No. Bad manners means that you will be shunned, you will be ostracized, you will be excluded. So, as Enid's dad would say, manners maketh man. It's manners, good manners to be more precise, which separates us from animals. All right, now another word we heard from Enid was the adjective strict. And we might have seen this before, but it won't hurt to have another look at it. We often see the adjective strict used with people. If someone is strict, then they expect, no, they demand that the rules are obeyed. Imagine a policeman. No, in fact, imagine two policemen. One of them is very strict and the other one isn't. If you're driving your car on a road where the speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour and you're traveling at 51 kilometers an hour, what will happen if the police track you with their speed camera? Well, that depends, doesn't it? If the strict policeman is operating the camera, then he'll stop you and punish you. And it won't make any difference if you tell him that your speedometer showed that you were traveling at 50 kilometers an hour. And anyway, it's really almost impossible to accurately determine your speed by looking at the speedometer in your car. And it is, isn't it? I mean, unless your speedometer displays the speed digitally, then it's not very easy to tell the difference between, 51 kilometers an hour and 53 kilometers an hour, is it? Anyway, if you get stopped by the strict policeman, then he'll insist that the law is the law. There's no flexibility involved. If the law says the maximum speed is 50 and you're doing 51, then you're breaking the law and he's going to punish you. He's going to give you a speeding ticket. He's going to give you a fine. He's going to fine you. The other policeman, let's call him the normal policeman, has a different opinion. He accepts that the speed camera they use is far more accurate than the speedometer in your car. He also accepts that when he and his colleague are looking for speeding drivers, they concentrate 100% of their energies on looking at the camera. When you're driving, what do? Do you look at the speedometer all of the time? I bloody hope not. That would mean that you're not paying attention to the road and the environment. And that's probably far more dangerous than traveling at 1 kilometer over the speed limit. Okay, so the normal policeman isn't strict. Well, not as strict as his colleague. He knows the law, but he also knows that we're not perfect. And so, well, sometimes the law should be a bit elastic. There should be room for maneuver. Not everything in life is black and white. In the law, when Parliament creates a new law, then it has to be very well defined. It has to be strictly defined. It's written down, and that means we have to explain it, define this and define that. But in the real world, the police should exercise judgment, not just enforce the law. What if you were driving fast because your father, who was sitting next to you, suddenly had a heart attack and you're trying to get him to hospital as quickly as you can so that the doctors can save his life? So, there might be extenuating circumstances. Maybe the situation shows that we should excuse this person's behavior. And just to let you know that this is a global problem, let me tell you about something which happened in the UK a few years ago. There was an ambulance driving at full speed in the middle of the night. Well, I say the middle of the night, but when we say that, we normally mean the very early hours of the morning. Anyway, very early. No traffic, everyone's in bed, and this ambulance had to travel from the north of England to the south of England, across several counties, to deliver an organ. This ambulance was driving to a hospital to deliver an organ to save someone's life. And the ambulance was seen. It was clocked by several speed cameras. Okay, this is normal. Automatic speed cameras, they don't turn themselves off. But when the different police services looked at the photos, there was a different reaction. Some said, it's an ambulance with blue lights flashing on a road with good weather conditions and no traffic. It's an emergency vehicle, leave it alone. Other police forces said, no, organ transport is not an emergency, punish the driver. So as you can see, there are strict police and normal police everywhere. And on that note, it's time for us to go. Drive safely if you're driving. Try to make sure that you don't drive too fast, but for God's sake, don't spend all your time looking at the speedo. You need to be aware of your surroundings when you're driving. You're controlling a 1.5-ton weapon. Be careful and pay attention. I'll see you all tomorrow, and we all know what day it's going to be, don't we? Yes, you're damned right we do, and it's not going to be Tuesday. See you tomorrow, people. See you later. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye!